What if I told you a young girl's heartbreak and the tragic loss of her puppy sparked an incredible journey of forgiveness and unity? A journey where animals overcame their deepest grudges to fight for justice and create a legacy of love. But here's the twist. It's not just a story about loss. It's about hope, redemption, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. What happens when a group of once estranged animals teams up to confront an unjust doctor? And can their incredible teamwork inspire us all to see the world differently? Stay with us to witness this heartwarming tale that will tug at your heartstrings and leave you with a powerful message about compassion and unity. If you love stories that inspire and uplift, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more captivating tales. Don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts. Your support helps us create more amazing content just like this. Once, in a forest where the sunlight danced through the trees and the air hummed with life, there lived a group of extraordinary friends. Leo, the strong and fearless lion. Ellie, the wise elephant with a heart full of kindness. Grace, the gentle and graceful deer. Jasper, the clever fox with a sharp wit. Luna, the ever-watchful owl. And Willow, the cheerful rabbit who brought laughter to their lives. Together, they made the forest feel alive with their love and friendship. Their bond was unshakable, or so they believed. The heart of their friendship was a clearing in the middle of the forest. It was their special place, where they shared stories, helped each other, and celebrated the beauty of their world. Every season brought new memories, and every memory tied them closer together. But one night, during a grand feast under a sky full of stars, everything fell apart. What started as playful banter turned into heated arguments. Sharp words were exchanged, cutting deeper than they realized. Before they knew it, the joy of the feast had turned to silence. Hurt and pride took over. None of them knew how to fix what had gone wrong, so they didn't even try. Instead, one by one, they left, retreating to their own parts of the forest. The clearing, once filled with laughter and life, became quiet and empty, overrun by vines and shadows. Years passed, and though they went on with their lives, each of them felt the loss. Memories of their time together lingered like echoes in the wind. They missed the bond they had shared, but none of them knew how to bridge the gap. The forest grew quieter, its harmony broken. Yet far beyond the trees, something was stirring, something that would bring them back together. A tragedy was unfolding, one that would force them to face their past and rediscover the strength of their friendship. For now, the forest remained still, waiting for the day when its guardians would reunite and remind the world of the magic of unity. Lily was a sweet, quiet girl who had always loved animals. But there was one companion who meant more to her than anything in the world. Her little puppy, Max. From the moment she found him as a tiny, scared pup on the side of the road, they became best friends. Max was always by her side, his wagging tail and bright eyes bringing joy to her life every single day. But one afternoon, everything changed. As Lily walked Max down a quiet street near her house, disaster struck. A car came speeding around the corner, and before Lily could react, it slammed into Max. The sound of the impact echoed in her ears as she screamed in horror. She rushed to him, holding his little body close to hers. Max was hurt, badly. His tiny body lay limp in her arms, his breathing shallow. Panicked and terrified, Lily ran as fast as she could to the nearest hospital. Max's tiny body shaking in her arms. She burst through the doors, crying out for help. "Please, help my puppy. He's been hurt." But the first person she saw wasn't helpful at all. Dr. Collins, the vet on duty, looked up from his desk with an uninterested expression. Lily's heart sank as she begged him to save Max. "Please, he's all I have. You have to help him." But Dr. Collins barely looked at the puppy. He sighed, annoyed. "It's just a puppy," he said coldly. "I'm too busy for this." Lily couldn't believe her ears. She tried again, pleading for him to do something. But the doctor only turned away, ignoring her desperate cries. Max's little body grew weaker and weaker, and there was nothing Lily could do. The tears came flooding down her face as she held Max in her arms, feeling his tiny heart slow until it finally stopped. Max was gone, and Lily's heart broke into a million pieces. She couldn't believe what had just happened. Max, her best friend, was gone because the doctor didn't care. And with that heartbreak came something else, something that would change everything. Lily wasn't just going to grieve. She was going to fight for justice. She couldn't let Max's death be in vain. Lily sat alone, holding her puppy Max. She couldn't believe he was gone. The doctor had been cruel, and Max had died without any help. Her heart ached, and she didn't know what to do. Suddenly, Lily remembered something her grandmother used to tell her, a story about a wise elephant who lived deep in the forest. This elephant was known for helping anyone who needed it. Lily thought maybe he could help her too. She didn't know how, but she had to try. With determination, she wiped her tears and decided to find the elephant. She packed a small bag and started walking toward the forest. It was a long way, but she couldn't stop. She had to do this for Max. Deep in the forest, the wise elephant stood quietly. He felt something in the air. Something important was happening. He knew it was time to act. When Lily finally found the elephant, she was nervous. But when she looked into his kind eyes, she knew she could trust him. "Please, help me," Lily said, her voice shaky. My puppy Max was hurt by a cruel doctor, and he died. I need justice for him." The elephant listened carefully to Lily's story. After a moment, he spoke. "I hear your pain, young one," he said softly. "But this isn't just about your puppy. There is something bigger happening. It's time for all of us to come together." Lily didn't understand. "What do you mean?" she asked. The elephant nodded. "Long ago, the animals of this forest lived as friends. But something happened, and we all went our separate ways. Now, it's time to reunite." Then, the elephant raised his trunk and made a loud call that echoed through the forest. Every animal, from the lion in the south to the owl in the trees, heard the call. They didn't know why, but something inside them told them to come. One by one, the animals began their journey toward the elephant. They didn't understand the reason, but they felt they had to go. As they made their way through the forest, the animals were curious, but also excited. Soon, they would all gather in the heart of the forest, ready to learn what had brought them together again. One by one, the animals arrived at the hospital, each from a different part of the forest. The lion came first, his powerful presence impossible to ignore. The elephant followed, his steps heavy and strong. Then came the fox, the rabbit, the deer, and the owl. They all gathered in front of the hospital, looking out of place but determined. Lily stood in shock. She couldn't believe her eyes. The animals, who had once been the best of friends, now kept their distance from each other. There was no greeting, no smiles, just silence between them. The elephant, who had called them together, was the first to speak. "We're here for justice, for Max, but we must put the past behind us and work together." The animals nodded, though they seemed unsure of each other. It was clear that they were still hurt by the old argument that had separated them all those years ago. But now, they had one goal: to confront the doctor who had treated Max so cruelly. The animals met in a quiet room, away from the hospital staff and patients. They talked in low voices, planning how they would confront the doctor. The lion, with his strength, said, "We'll make sure he can't escape. We'll corner him." The owl, wise and calm, added, "We need to make sure he tells us why he treated Max so badly. He must answer for what he did." The rabbit, always quick, said, "I'll get close to him without him noticing. He won't see me coming." The fox, clever as always, nodded. "I'll help trap him. We'll all be in the right place at the right time." The elephant, who had brought them all together, looked at everyone. "We must work as one. For Max." With the plan set, the animals spread out. Each of them had a job to do. Lily stayed close, not fully understanding what was happening, but trusting the animals to do what needed to be done. The doctor continued with his rounds, unaware of the animals' plan. They quietly took their places, waiting for the right moment. The suspense was thick in the air as they got ready. Finally, the doctor walked down a hallway, and the moment came. The lion stepped in front of him, blocking his path. The elephant moved in from the side, trapping him. The doctor stopped in his tracks. Surrounded, the doctor looked around nervously. The animals were not playing around. They were there for one reason: justice. Lily stepped forward, her voice shaking but determined. "You killed my puppy. You didn't help him when he needed you. Now, you have to face what you did." The doctor tried to speak, but he was too nervous to get the words out. The animals were calm but powerful, their eyes full of anger and sadness for what had happened to Max. The doctor realized there was no way out. The animals weren't going to leave until he answered for what he did. The tension in the air was heavy. The animals, once divided, were now united in their mission to seek justice for Max. As the doctor stood silent, clearly overwhelmed by the animals' presence, they began to talk among themselves. It wasn't just about Max anymore. There was something deeper, something that had been buried for years. The animals had been apart for so long, and now, in this moment of justice, they started to understand how much they had missed each other. The lion was the first to speak, his voice soft, but filled with regret. "I remember that feast. It was supposed to be a time of celebration, but instead it ended in anger. I said things I didn't mean." The fox, with a quiet sigh, nodded. "I was upset when you disagreed with me, lion. I didn't handle it well. I kept to myself for so long. But I always thought about our friendship." The rabbit added, her voice trembling. "I tried to stay out of it, but I felt torn. It felt like everything was falling apart. I never wanted us to fight. I wanted to be with all of you again." The owl, wise and calm, spoke next. "I stayed in my tree alone. I thought I was protecting myself, but I see now how wrong I was. I missed each of you. We had something special." The elephant, who had called them all together, took a deep breath. "I tried to keep the peace, but when you all went your separate ways, I went too. I thought it was easier that way, but it wasn't. I've been waiting for the right moment to bring us all back together." They all fell silent for a moment, reflecting on the pain of those lost years. It had been a misunderstanding, a small disagreement that grew bigger with time. But now, standing together, they understood the cost of that fight. The doctor, still trapped by the animals, watched the scene unfold in front of him. He was no longer their focus. The animals were focused on each other now. Their shared past, their lost friendship, was more important than anything. Lily, standing nearby, felt a tear slip down her cheek as she watched the animals talk. She had always heard stories about the bond between them, but now she saw it for herself. One by one, the animals moved toward each other. The lion stepped toward the rabbit and embraced her, his big paws gentle. The fox and the deer hugged next, tears in their eyes. The owl wrapped his wings around the elephant, showing a warmth that had been missing for so long. And then, the elephant turned to Lily. "We've been apart for too long, but we're here for Max. We're here to make things right. We forgive each other." Lily nodded, her heart swelling with hope. She had watched the animals grow closer, and it felt like a miracle. The tension, the anger, the hurt, it was all gone now. They were no longer enemies. They were friends again. The moment felt magical. The animals had reconciled, and the weight of the past seemed to disappear. Tears of joy replaced the sorrow, and hugs of forgiveness replaced the silence. They had healed, and in this moment, they were united once again. The doctor, who had witnessed the whole scene, was speechless. The animals had shown him what true friendship and forgiveness meant. He knew he couldn't escape his consequences. The forgiveness of the animals was real, but they still needed justice. With a deep sigh, the doctor finally spoke. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. I neglected Max, and for that, I apologize." The animals stared at him for a moment. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about peace, forgiveness, and justice for Max. And in that moment, the tension shifted. It was no longer about what had happened in the past. It was about moving forward together. The atmosphere inside the hospital was thick with tension. The animals stood tall, their eyes focused, their resolve unwavering. Even the usually calm owl looked sharp, every detail of the doctor's movements noted, every word considered. The lion, often the proudest of them all, stood quietly at the front of the group, his tail twitching with the anxiety of the moment. The elephant, calm but ever-present, waited, his large form a beacon of stability in the room. Lily, clutching her hands together, stood close to them, her eyes still swollen from the heartbreak she had endured after losing Max. But now, there was a new energy in her, a sense of purpose. It was as if the animal's presence had given her strength. She wasn't just the grieving girl anymore. She was someone standing beside those who had come to her side when she needed them most. In the corner of the room, Dr. Harrison stood, his back against the wall, his hands clasped in front of him. His usually well-kept appearance was now disheveled, a reflection of the strain that had taken over his life in the last few moments. The animals had made it clear that he would have to face the consequences of his actions, and now it was his time to speak. The animals had surrounded him, but there was no rush. They had time. They wanted him to think about what had happened. They had time to make sure he fully understood the gravity of his actions. The silence was palpable. The doctor shifted his weight, clearing his throat before he finally spoke, his voice low, but growing steadier with each word. I never thought I would be confronted like this. I've seen animals in pain before, but I never truly understood what it meant to care for them," he began. "I thought I was doing my job, but I was wrong. I've always treated patients like cases, numbers, conditions to be solved, but I never saw them for what they really were, living beings who deserved respect, care, and love. I treated Max like he was nothing more than a responsibility, a job to check off on my list, and for that, I am deeply sorry." The lion, standing closest to him, stepped forward. "Sorry is a start, but actions speak louder than words. How can we trust that this will change? How do we know you won't hurt others the way you hurt Max?" The doctor nodded, visibly shaken by the directness of the lion's words. He didn't back away from the challenge. Instead, he took a deep breath, as if gathering the courage to admit more. "I can't expect you to forgive me immediately," Dr. Harrison said. but I'm asking for a chance to prove that I can change. I've learned so much in these past few hours, just by seeing how much love and unity exist in this room. Despite everything I've done, I want to be a better person, a better doctor. I want to treat every animal with the same care and respect I would give to any human being. I promise, from this moment forward, I will never again neglect a living creature in need. I will always remember the lesson you've all taught me today. The words hung in the air, but there was no immediate response. The animals exchanged glances, their faces unreadable. The owl's wise eyes studied the doctor, calculating whether the sincerity in his voice matched his heart. The elephant's large ears flapped slightly, as if to signal the beginning of a deep and quiet thought. The rabbit, though initially hesitant, nudged the fox, who gave her a subtle nod of reassurance. Then the lion stepped forward, his deep voice steady, but no longer filled with anger. We all make mistakes. Some are bigger than others, but that doesn't mean we can't try to make things right. What matters now is that you understand what you've done, and you've admitted it. We've all had our share of faults, but today, we choose to move forward. We choose to build something better, something that honors Max and every creature that comes to us for care. Lily's heart fluttered with a mixture of relief and hope. The lion's words were powerful, and they resonated with her deeply. She knew in her heart that she had been waiting for this moment of redemption, not just for herself, but for Max as well. Her tears, once full of sorrow, were now laced with gratitude. She was about to speak, but the elephant raised a massive foot and gently pressed it down, signaling that the moment was not yet complete. The elephant turned to the doctor, his voice quiet, yet carrying an immense weight. Forgiveness is not something that can be given lightly. It takes time, and it takes trust. You have to prove your actions. But we can offer you the first step toward redemption. You're not alone in this. We will be watching, and we will help guide you, but only if you stay true to your word. The doctor nodded, his eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and determination. I understand. I will do whatever it takes to earn your trust. I won't let Max's death be in vain. I will change. Lily took a step forward, her voice a soft whisper that only the doctor could hear. I know it's hard to change, and it will take time, but I believe you can do it. I believe you can be the doctor Max deserved. Her words pierced through the doctor's guarded heart, and he felt something stir within him. Perhaps for the first time, he truly understood the weight of his responsibilities. It wasn't just about a job or a paycheck. It was about caring for life in all its forms. His eyes softened as he looked at Lily, his voice choked with emotion. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this chance. The moment hung in the air for a brief, delicate second, and then, one by one, the animals approached the doctor. They had seen his apology, heard the sincerity in his voice, and understood that he was ready to change. The owl, who had been observing the doctor from the start, gave him a nod of approval, his wings stretching wide in a gesture of acceptance. The fox, always quick with a witty remark, was the first to speak up, a slight smile on his face. Well, I guess we'll have to teach you how to handle the next emergency, won't we? His words were light-hearted, and it was clear that he was willing to give the doctor a chance, albeit with some playful caution. The rabbit, with her gentle nature, moved closer and patted the doctor's arm. We all make mistakes, but it's how we learn from them that matters. We'll help you along the way. The doctor felt a sense of weight lift off his shoulders, replaced by the warmth of forgiveness. It wasn't perfect yet, but it was a start, a new beginning. Lily smiled through her tears, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't felt since Max's passing. She had come here broken, desperate for justice. And now, she was seeing something incredible unfold in front of her. A healing that wasn't just for her, but for all involved. The animals had not only forgiven the doctor, but had found a way to help him redeem himself. They had shown him that the way to real change was through action, compassion, and a willingness to grow. In that moment, the doctor made a silent vow to never forget this lesson, to treat every creature with the respect they deserved, and to make amends for the pain he had caused. The animals were his teachers, and he would be forever grateful. And then, something unexpected happened. The elephant, who had been the voice of reason throughout this process, spoke again, his tone resolute. We have learned today that redemption is possible, but it is also our responsibility to ensure no one else suffers like Max did. We must take action to protect every creature who needs help. The animals, including Lily, looked at him curiously. I propose, the elephant continued, that we build a hospital of our own, deep within the forest, a sanctuary where all creatures, big and small, can come for care, without fear of neglect, a place of healing and compassion. Lily's eyes widened, and a smile slowly spread across her face. That sounds amazing, she whispered, her heart filled with a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. The animals looked at each other and nodded, the idea settling into their hearts. They had a chance to build something better, a place where kindness ruled, and every animal could feel safe. And Lily, the girl who had started this journey with such sorrow, would be at the center of it all. We'll make it happen, the elephant said, his voice filled with conviction. Together. And so, in that small hospital room, amidst the aftermath of tragedy, a new beginning was born. The animals had shown the doctor what it meant to change, and in doing so, they had taken the first steps toward creating a world where no creature would suffer from neglect again. The road ahead was long, but as they stood united, they knew that anything was possible when they worked together. And as for the doctor, he knew that the true test of his redemption had only just begun. As dawn broke over the forest, sunlight streamed through the canopy, casting a golden glow on the gathering below. The animals stood together, their once weary faces now filled with hope and determination. The events at the hospital had not only brought justice for Max, but had also ignited a shared vision, a hospital in the heart of the forest, where every creature could find care and compassion without fear or neglect. The idea had been the elephant's, but it quickly became a shared mission. The owl, with his wisdom, mapped out a plan. The fox, ever clever, began organizing resources. Even the lion, who rarely took on tasks outside his domain, offered his strength to help build the foundation. Every animal, big or small, found a role to play in making the dream a reality. Lily stood at the center of it all, watching in awe as the animals worked together. For the first time since losing Max, she felt a sense of purpose, a belief that something good could come from her pain. When the elephant turned to her and said, "You will lead us, Lily. This hospital will need a heart, and you are the perfect one to guide it," she was taken aback. "Me? But I'm just a girl," she replied, her voice tinged with doubt. The owl, perched on a low branch, hooted softly. "You may be young, but your courage and compassion are beyond your years. You fought for Max when others would have given up. That spirit, is what we need to ensure no other creature suffers alone." The animals nodded in agreement. The rabbit hopped closer, her small paw resting on Lily's hand. "You've already shown us what kindness and determination can do. With you leading us, this hospital will be a place of healing and love." Lily wiped a tear from her cheek her heart swelling with gratitude. "I'll do my best," she said, her voice steady. Not just for Max, but for every animal who needs help. The animals wasted no time. Under the elephant's guidance, they chose a clearing near the center of the forest, a place accessible to creatures from every corner. The spot was surrounded by tall trees and a gentle stream, providing the perfect environment for healing and rest. Construction began immediately. The lion and the bear cleared the ground, their strength transforming the overgrown clearing into a usable space. The fox organized supply lines, rallying smaller animals like squirrels and birds to gather materials. The beavers, known for their building skills, crafted sturdy walls from fallen trees, while the deer and rabbits collected soft moss and leaves for bedding. Even the doctor, Dr. Harrison, arrived one afternoon, carrying a bag of medical supplies. He had insisted on helping, eager to prove his commitment to change. Though the animals were cautious at first, his genuine effort soon won them over. "I owe this to all of you," he said, as he unpacked his bag. "This is my chance to make things right." Lily worked tirelessly alongside them, learning from the doctor and the animals as they shared their knowledge. The owl taught her about natural remedies found in the forest, while the fox showed her how to navigate the woods to find injured creatures in need. With each passing day, Lily grew more confident in her role, her bond with the animals deepening. Weeks turned into months, and the hospital began to take shape. It wasn't a traditional building, but a harmonious blend of nature and structure. Hollowed-out tree trunks served as cozy rooms for smaller animals, while larger creatures found shelter in shaded enclosures built from intertwined branches. A central pavilion, crafted from vines and wood, acted as the main treatment area, complete with tables and shelves for medical supplies. The hospital quickly became a hub of activity. Birds carried messages across the forest, spreading the word about the new sanctuary. Injured animals arrived daily, some limping, others carried by their friends. Each was met with care and compassion, their wounds tended, their spirits lifted. One day, a young fawn arrived with a broken leg, her mother weeping softly by her side. The rabbit and the owl worked together, using a combination of natural splints and soothing herbs to ease her pain. As the fawn rested, Lily sat beside her, gently stroking her head. "You're safe now," Lily whispered. "We'll take care of you." The fawn's mother looked at Lily with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for giving us hope." As the hospital grew, so did the bond between the animals and humans. Dr. Harrison, once a symbol of neglect, became a trusted ally. He visited regularly, offering his expertise and learning from the animals in return. Together, they formed a partnership that bridged the gap between their worlds. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the animals gathered around the central pavilion for a small celebration. The hospital was officially complete, and its first patients were already on the road to recovery. Lily stood at the front, her heart filled with pride as she looked at the faces around her. Faces that had once been strangers, now united by a shared purpose. The elephant stepped forward, his deep voice resonating through the clearing. "Today, we celebrate not just the completion of this hospital, but the unity that made it possible. We came together despite our differences, proving that when we work as one, there's nothing we can't achieve." The animals cheered, their voices echoing through the forest. Even the usually reserved owl let out a celebratory hoot, his wings fluttering with joy. Lily stepped forward, holding back tears as she addressed the group. "This hospital is more than just a place to heal. It's a symbol of what we can do when we choose kindness and compassion. Max may not be here to see it, but I know he would be proud of what we've built." The mention of Max brought a hush over the crowd, but it wasn't a silence of sadness. It was a moment of reflection, a shared understanding of the journey that had brought them here. As the celebration continued, Lily looked around, her heart swelling with hope. The Forest Hospital was more than just a tribute to Max. It was a promise, a commitment to a future where every creature, big or small, would be treated with love and respect. From that day on, the hospital became a beacon of hope. Animals from all over the forest came not just for healing, but to volunteer, to be part of something bigger than themselves. And as Lily walked among them, her head held high, she knew that this was just the beginning. The loss of Max had brought unimaginable pain, but it had also sparked a movement, one that would change the forest forever. Together, they had turned tragedy into triumph, proving that even in the darkest moments, there is light to be found when hearts come together. The hospital thrived, standing as a testament to what compassion and unity could achieve. Though Lily still felt the ache of Max's absence, she found comfort in the purpose his memory had brought into her life. Her days were now filled with tending to injured animals, sharing stories with her newfound friends, and learning from their wisdom. In the quiet moments, she often thought of Max, his playful barks, his wagging tail, his boundless love. But instead of tears, these memories now brought a gentle smile. Lily had turned her grief into something beautiful, something that would keep Max's spirit alive forever. One morning, as the forest bathed in golden sunlight, the animals gathered at the hospital's central pavilion. Lily stood at the front, her gaze sweeping over the crowd. The lion sat proudly beside her, the fox and rabbit flanking him. The owl perched on a nearby branch, his eyes shining with wisdom, while the elephant stood tall, his presence a symbol of strength and peace. "We've come so far," Lily began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "What started as a moment of loss has grown into something extraordinary. Max taught me what it means to love unconditionally. And now, together, we've created a place that embodies that love." The animals nodded, their faces reflecting the shared pride and gratitude they felt. The rabbit hopped forward, her tiny voice carrying through the clearing. "It's not just a hospital. It's a home for everyone, where no one is judged, and every life matters." The fox added, "And it wouldn't have been possible without forgiveness. We were so lost in our pain that we forgot what it meant to be friends." But Lily reminded us that it's never too late to make things right. The animals took turns sharing their thoughts, each voice contributing to the collective message of the day. The elephant spoke of the strength found in unity. The owl of the wisdom gained through compassion. Even the lion, who rarely shared his feelings, admitted, "It was my pride that kept me away for so long. But when we came together, I realized just how much I had missed my friends." As the words flowed, the hospital's purpose became clear. It wasn't just a place to heal physical wounds, but a sanctuary where hearts could mend and bonds could be rebuilt. Lily stepped forward again, her voice carrying a final, powerful message. "We've learned something here, something that goes beyond this forest. Forgiveness isn't just for others. It's for ourselves. And unity isn't about forgetting our differences, but embracing them to create something stronger." As the day drew to a close, Lily and the animals gathered for one last symbolic act. They planted a tree at the heart of the hospital, a towering oak sapling, its roots strong and deep. The elephant placed the first mound of soil, followed by the lion, the rabbit, and all the others. Lily placed the final handful, her hands trembling with emotion. "This tree is our promise," she said softly. "A promise to protect, to care, and to never let anything divide us again. The tree stood as a living legacy, its leaves shimmering in the evening light. It would grow tall and strong, much like the bonds that now connected the forest's inhabitants. The closing scene was one of harmony. Lily, now a skilled caretaker and a beloved figure in the forest, worked side by side with the animals. The lion gently carried supplies on his back, the fox delivered herbs, and the owl guided her through the use of natural remedies. Even the once distant doctor occasionally visited, offering his expertise and continuing to learn from his mistakes. The hospital buzzed with life, a constant reminder of what could be achieved when compassion triumphed over conflict. Birds chirped messages of hope, animals rested peacefully in their beds, and new bonds formed every day. Lily looked up at the tree they had planted, its leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. She felt Max's presence in the air around her, as if his spirit was smiling down on everything they had built. "This is for you, Max," she whispered, her heart full. "Thank you for teaching me what it means to love." As the camera pans out, the hospital fades into the lush expanse of the forest, its sounds of life echoing in the distance. The animals, once fractured by pain, are now united by love and purpose. And at the center of it all is Lily, a young girl who turned her sorrow into a legacy of healing. The story ends not with a goodbye, but with a beginning of a world where every being, human or animal, is seen, cared for, and valued. A world where justice and kindness prevail. And as the forest whispers its timeless song, it leaves one final message for all. No bond is too broken to mend, no wound too deep to heal, and no life too small to matter. And so, what began as a heartbreaking tragedy turned into a story of hope, redemption, and unshakable unity. Lily, with her newfound animal friends, transformed grief into a legacy of healing, proving that love and compassion can bridge even the deepest divides. This isn't just a story about animals, it's a lesson for all of us. Forgiveness, teamwork, and standing up for what's right can create miracles, even in the face of great loss. What did you take away from this incredible journey? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional and inspiring tales. Your support keeps us going and helps bring these stories to life. Thank you for being part of our journey. Until next time.